not combined, I am not confined to any wicked system that these demons have designed. They frame a mind and have you salty as a bacon rind. I'm trying to mastermind how to help out humankind. I'm open mind, but I do not walk with none aligned. My state of mind is to keep.
Welcome back to East Coast DNA. Today's guest, Andrew Jackson, a much accomplished musician himself. So many people are probably familiar with Andrew just as soon as you saw him on the screen here. But specifically today, Andrew, you're here today as an industry person, which I think you may be just as well known for. So you're tackling the music industry from both ends.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up, we have the Halifax's TD Jazz Festival. So what can you tell me about the Jazz Festival itself? I know it's been going on for quite a few years, and you always have very established acts as your headliners. But maybe if you give a little bit of the origins of what we're seeing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So the festival is entering into its 38th year. It's really exciting and remarkable that the festival's been around for this long. Started in 1985 by a passionate group of local artists and local jazz appreciators, and shout out to folks like Susan Hunter, who's one of the founders of the festival, Jerry Granelli, Tom Roach, and many, many more. Who just had a passion and desire to bring this music out to the people. The festival obviously it's changed and grown and evolved over the years. But like many events out there, had humble beginnings with a small stage out on the waterfront, and since then people around here have always had a love for jazz and R&B and soul music, and so I think that's always attributed to the strength of the festival. And there's been so many amazing artists and instrumentalists and singers and whatnot that have come from the East Coast and have may have gone elsewhere, come back and to play at the festival year over year. So it's been a real celebration of the local community. The festival's moved sites over the years. It's been on the Halifax waterfront for years. When I was involved with the festival, it was a tent on the site of where the Halifax Central Library is right now, and they was there for many years, and then moved back down to the waterfront to where it is now, and we can continue to expand and try to involve as many people as we can. And I think the festival's main strength has been and how much it engages with the larger community of the city. There's nothing better than being at that festival, even like a free show during the day, and there's just packed with people that are just there to take in some of the music.
And as you kind of mentioned, through the day, there's free shows. So before we get into the actual headliners that are selling the tickets out there, for people that are maybe not super familiar with the festival, even though it is held annually, if it's new to some people, they may not be aware that there is quite a few other events outside of the main stage. And as you mentioned, through the day, there's some free shows.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so much that goes on with the festival, just like you're saying, outside of just the headlining artists. We offer free programming on the festival main stage, which comprises of a lot of local artists from around the community, from 11:30 to 3 each day at the festival, and you can just come down to the waterfront and take in those shows at your leisure. We also do programming in partnership with the Halifax Public Libraries as well. So we offer a series of workshops throughout the festival. Some of them are interviews and insight into the music of visiting artists, or some of our local artists just talking about what jazz is. We have stages at the Hydrostone on the weekend. So in North End Halifax, we put a stage there from 12 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday of the festival. And beyond that, we've got lots of other free programming that we just keep, it seems like we keep on adding it. So we've got our creative music series that's happening nightly at the Halifax Central Library, as well as at the local, we have our late night jam, which is also free to attend as well. That for the late night crew that runs 10:30 to 1:30 every night. So there's like just so much that happens. We got music at the Carlton, our shows at St. Matt's as well, and just a huge amount of program, over 70 shows over 6 days.
And for people that want to get the full schedule, that's available halifaxjazzfestival.ca.
Yeah, that's right. And over the next week, we'll have our print guide out as well. So that's a really great resource where you can read up on some of the artists that are going to be performing. Actually, all of the artists that are going to be performing. So that'll be distributed across HRM in the next week.
And might as well get into it now then. Your big ticket items, your headliners for this year, you have quite a few. I'm always surprised with the diversity for genre because it's labeled as the jazz festival, but then there's always a surprise element to who I see as the headliners. I can think of quite a few over the last few years, but when I really sat down to think about it going into this interview, I think the first time I was at the jazz festival was the early 90s. So I maybe don't need to get into people I remember from before. That's going back quite a few years. But yeah, the big names this year, Killer Mike was one that I saw right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really remarkable festival this year. I feel like this year more than any of the years I've worked with the festival, the scope of the music is so wide. But yeah, I can just go through some of what we've got happening. So as you said, the opening night of the festival is Tuesday, July 9th. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I'm just got something burned into my brain. But yeah, we got Killer Mike coming out to perform. And one of the great things about the festival is that we love to bring in these, big artists, but have local artists as support for those shows. So we got Killer Mike, who just won 3 Grammy Awards at
Yeah, amazing.
past Grammys, and we have local heroes, Universal Soul, and Lavender and Tachichi going to be ripping it up for that show. The second night of the festival, we've got the amazing Fits and the Tantrums.
Hmm.
There's some TikTok heads out there who might know them from some of their hits that were pretty viral. And they're just like so high energy and a fun show. That's like I would say of the danciest of the shows. And they're gonna be joined, we just announced a couple of weeks ago, with rising star Ruby Waters as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be an excellent pairing of some really pop oriented music. We've got a big show with Emmylou Harris coming through as well, and she's just a legend, 14-time Grammy winner, and she's going to be paired again with another local artist, and I think it's just going to be a really beautiful show with Alan Soulboy and the Thundermakers, who just released their new record. And I was really happy to put those two artists together because they're
Hmm.
of a similar vintage, but I think there'll be a mutual appreciation between those two artists. Um, and that show, one of the things I will say, one of the different additions to this year's festival is that we're including more seating options with shows like that. So we actually have a large amount of stage front seating, which I think most of it is sold out, but you can check out the ticket options. But for shows like that, we've had a lot of requests for more seating options at the festival. So that's something that we're adding this year for that show. Um, Beyond that, we've got our Friday night. I'm really excited about our Friday night at the main stage as well. It's just going to be like a powerhouse show. I can't think of a better word for it, with a group from the States called the War and Treaty, who are this incredible husband and wife duo who are just they've got like a blues Americana sound. They've had some hits of their own, and with country star Zach Bryan as well. And they're just like, so high energy, but like really powerful vocals. And of course, we're matching them with Matt Anderson, the Big Bottle of Joy, who have just been crushing it. I think they just got back
Hmm.
from Holland playing out there. So the combination of those two bands is going to be incredible. Like I'm getting really, really excited for that. And then the Saturday night of the festival, we got a bit of an indie R&B night with Charlotte Day Wilson, paired with another artist named Nick Hakim. And those two artists, they've got a bit of an indie sound to them. And Charlotte Day Wilson, she actually had a stint living here in Halifax, and I remember
Yeah.
after yeah, I don't know if you ever saw her with her band The Wayo back in the day.
No, but I remember back 2017 Pop Explosion, she was featured in that era, and there would have been some of the East Coast charts. I would have seen her name pop up back in those days.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just like, continuing to get bigger and bigger. And she just put out her latest album called Cyan Blue. And that's it. It's so awesome. So really excited for those two artists to come together on stage on the Saturday night. Then the closing night of the main stage, we've got a free show that people can attend. And that's always been a part of the festival, is to offer a free headlining night. And that show is going to be a pairing between a group that's coming in from Toronto called Moneka Arabic Jazz. And that features this guy. His name's Ahmed Moneka. He's originally from Iraq, but has been living in Toronto for a decade or so. But he's got this really cool kind of funk jazz band with like some of the best players in Toronto coming together to sing some of his original music, which he sings in Arabic. And so that's going to be paired with Rankin McGuinness, everyone loves Rankin McGuinness here on the East Coast. He's the Musician of the Year at last year's Music Nova Scotia Award, and did a weekly series at the Marquee that sold out every week called Rankin's Performers, which is just amazing. So it's kind of bringing that vibe to the festival stage with what he's calling Rankin's Jazz Fest Jamboree, which is going to feature all sorts of guest artists that he's got planned that we'll be releasing in the coming weeks leading up to that show. So that's all the main stage stuff that's happening there. I mean, like I said, it's a different thing every night. So I'm really excited to see all the different vibes that we're going to be presenting.
Yeah, it's amazing, like this early on into our summer season, how many things are up and running. It feels like we're already entering the FOMO stage of the summer.
I
So
know. Yeah.
want to make sure that people are aware that all these wonderful artists are out there, especially with some of those being weekday shows. So I mean, there's stuff out there to do right now. Like, don't be trapped in your apartments in this sweltering heat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Stuff to
and
do.
and I feel like, the city is just like every year there's more great stuff that you can check out on a daily basis, as you said.
And now, usually, we play out with our episodes with a song from one of the artists that I'm interviewing. Now, with this festival too, I could definitely reach out to one of these artists that are on here. But being that you're also a musician that I have not yet featured on here, is there anything from your own catalog that you would like to play out, just to give people a little appetite on who this person was I was speaking to?
Yeah, I mean, we could play something from the record that Sam Wilson and I put out called New Doors. Um, I think an appropriate song from that. We have a cover of a Nick Drake song called Saturday Sun. So that's got the nice summertime vibe, and I always like to listen to sunny music in these months. So I think we could go out on that.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time. And as promised, I'm going to wrap it up here because it is like the middle of a heat wave for us. So, as things die down on the festival circuit and we get some cooler weather, maybe in the fall, I'll invite you back on and we'll have a feature episode on Andrew Jackson, the musician, as well.
Sure, I'd love that.
All right. Thanks again. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks so much.